fight Bivol, a 7-pound difference. This is 40, 50-pound difference. I don't think people really want to risk losing or having a tough challenge or risk getting knocked out. I think it's his, it's his weakness. His kryptonite is the faster guys who don't get hit by his big punches.
I'm honored to be here. I'm happy to be here. I think December 19th is going to be crazy though. I think the center's going to be buzzing, just crazy energy in the room. I think it's going to be really good. So now, remember, I took a year out of the game.
With the fight only days away, tension is rising fast. Jake Paul is pushing hard in training, working on his timing, speed, and conditioning. At the same time, Anthony Joshua is matching that energy, sharpening his power and accuracy. Both fighters look fully focused and locked in, showing that neither is taking this fight lightly. As fight night gets closer, attention stays on Jake Paul's camp because of some surprising changes. Instead of sticking with familiar trainers, Paul has brought in Don Charles, a coach known for working with Daniel Dubois at the top level. This move has caught people's attention because it shows Paul is preparing for real heavyweight pressure, not just promotion. Training under Charles means more structure, discipline, and focus on managing power. Analysts believe this change proves Paul is taking Anthony Joshua seriously and understands how dangerous this matchup is.
As well, I think Josh Taylor as well. So that would be a guy that's potentially being brought in to work with Jake, but I don't know that Ben Davidson would do that. I don't know if just as AJ leaves to go train with, and this is why I say Ben Davidson, AJ has left to go and train with Usyk's team. Left Ben Davidson, go train with Usyk's team. I don't know, because their relationship is so good, I don't know that Ben Davidson would just turn coat on AJ and help somebody prepare for him. Don't think that would happen, unless it was like a Tyson Fury who he already had a relationship with. So that leaves another individual. That leaves Mr. Don Charles. Don Charles, British boxing trainer, known for coaching Derek Chisora, but also known for coaching one Daniel Dubois, who just so happened, as you see here in this little very small picture down on the right side here, just so happened to, as of earlier this year, absolutely chin and stop AJ in dramatic, epic fashion in AJ's triumphant return after AJ stopped Francis Ngannou and had all his confidence back and was fighting for a world title, and Daniel Dubois said, "No, sir, not tonight." If this is true, it makes things very interesting. Don Charles was in a pretty much chaotic camp. If you guys remember with Daniel Dubois, it was like Daniel Dubois' dad was also kind of training him, which was an issue with Shane McGuigan when he was there, and then Don Charles came in and it was chaos in the corner, and Don was trying to coach and couldn't really do it, and a lot of people thought that Don didn't get his fair shake when it came to Daniel Dubois and got a lot of the blame for Dubois losing to Usyk just a couple of months ago. But he is a very good trainer and a guy that just worked on a game plan to beat Anthony Joshua. Now again, Daniel Dubois is also 6'4" and 250 pounds with a crazy reach. So you can't teach Jake Paul that. What will Don Charles teach to Jake if that's...
Anthony Joshua's training camp is strict, intense, and highly focused. Every session is built around strength, speed, and clean technique. He studies his opponent carefully, drills combinations again and again, and sharpens his timing. The camp reflects Joshua's professional mindset and his commitment to entering the fight in top physical and mental condition.
This is true that AJ has gone out to train with Alexander Usyk's team. So I don't know if that means Alexander Usyk per se, but Alexander Usyk's team. I have no issues with that at all. Some people might sort of throw out the phrase, if you can't beat them, join them. AJ's always kind of done that. A lot of fighters do this as well, by the way, but when it's AJ, it's big noise. A lot of fighters go to camps and spend a couple of weeks in a camp. Like, most fighters do it, in fact. They'll go to a camp, spend a couple of weeks, Obviously, it looks a bit different because AJ Usyk, but most fighters do that. I mean, there's no problem sort of soaking up knowledge and seeing how people do things. Like, why would you not want to see how one of the greatest heavyweights in the world trains and what he's doing over there? You'd want to see it. I don't know if it means AJ's going to jump ship and be trained by Alexander Usyk's team. I doubt that very much. But I don't see the...
Ariel Helwani points out how unusual this moment is in Jake Paul's career. He explains that Paul is stepping into completely new territory by facing someone with Anthony Joshua's size and natural heavyweight power. Until now, Paul has never fought someone built like AJ. Most of his past opponents were smaller or came from outside boxing. Helwani says this huge size and strength gap changes everything, from strategy to endurance, making this the biggest challenge Paul has ever faced.
Joshua is a legitimate heavyweight, and the people he's been fighting are not, none of them are 1/10 of what this man is as a fighter. His opponent in this fight, I don't know what your opinion is on this, but I am genuinely curious, because even while I think a heavyweight has a chance in any fight, a puncher's chance, I don't think Jake Paul has anything for Anthony Joshua.
Do you respect him for taking it?
Yeah, you have to, because that's terrifying. Like that. Look, I understand that Jake Paul is ranked in cruiserweight, but there are weight classes for a reason, and this is a man that I thought was going to be the guy who knocked off Fury and Deontay Wilder, and a lot of people thought that. A lot of people thought he was going to be undisputed.
Two-time unified heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist in 2012. His last fight was for the title against Daniel Dubois and got knocked out. That was his last fight. So it's not like he's washed up. It's not like he's fighting bums and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a crazy thing. I get annoyed at the people who are doing like the sanctimonious thing, that this is a stain on AJ's legacy, that this is a stain on the sport of boxing, because you often hear that from people who actually don't watch boxing, don't know anything about AJ, don't know anything about the sport, and it's like, save me the sanctimony, because as you probably know, boxing has been doing fights like this for decades. In 1976, Muhammad Ali, who was the heavyweight champion of the world, went to Japan and fought a guy named Antonio Inoki in a mixed rules pro wrestling match. In 1975, after the Rumble in the Jungle, George Foreman, after losing to Ali, went to Toronto, Maple Leaf Gardens on a Saturday
Veteran
afternoon
boxing
and
analyst
fought
Dan
5
Raphael
jobbers.
says Jake
Like, this
Paul
stuff
has
happens.
clearly
So I
improved
don't
since
think
his
this-
fight with Tommy Fury.
He fought 5 people on the same
He notes
day.
that Paul's
A jobber,
footwork
you know
looks
what a jobber
smoother, his defense has improved, and his combinations are sharper. His stamina is also better, allowing him to keep a steady pace for longer rounds. Raphael adds that Paul now shows better timing and ring awareness, proving he is thinking more strategically instead of relying only on power. This development is important as Paul prepares to face much bigger and more experienced fighters.
In his most recent 2 fights, those are so-called real fighters, but not for a long, long time. Chavez is a decade or so past when he was best, and Tyson had been retired 19 years and hadn't been, even when he was still an active fighter, hadn't been at his best over the last decade of his career. So they were guys with big names, but not threats. And the other fighters that he's faced have been a collection of either non-combat athletes, MMA fighters who've decided to come into boxing or had very limited experience in boxing. And then, a couple of guys in boxing that didn't have a lot of experience who were boxers, but had been off, for a long time. A couple of guys you never heard of before he fought those guys, and those guys you'll never hear of again. Of course, the fight against Tommy Fury, which I know he lost, but it was like a split decision, as my recollection says, and it was awfully close. And for my perspective is, whatever you think about it, Jake Paul certainly has gotten better since he fought Tommy Fury. He's certainly gotten better over the last number of fights. Now, is he at an elite, world-class level? Probably not yet. He may never get to that level, but so you got to give him props. He's taken on a guy that I spend part of my morning talking to different boxing matchmakers, people I've known for decades in this business, who have vast experience of building fighters and moving fighters and developing them, and they know a lot better than you or me what they're looking at. And to a person, they were like, they don't understand why Jake took this fight, because they think it's, one person used the word of decapitation. So he's going to be a monstrous underdog against a massive puncher. But they're all getting.
Anthony Joshua continues to train with full focus and discipline, mixing power with precise technique in every workout. His footwork is sharp, his combinations are controlled, and his endurance is tested daily. Each session shows his respect for Jake Paul as an opponent and his commitment to being fully prepared. Joshua's camp focuses on both physical and mental readiness, making sure he is sharp in every area. As the fight approaches, fans and analysts closely study every clip, interview, and sparring session. The boxing world is buzzing with predictions about how this showdown will unfold. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned, and see you next time.